Hello, everyone. Um, I have recently made a community post showing the cosmetic armor that I use to put together a samurai themed build. In short, it consists of using most of the Iron Truage set, which can be acquired through Lord Saladin when he is around during Iron Banner. It is legacy focusable, and Iron Banner engrams, when they're around, are pretty easy to come by. The exotic is Gifted Conviction with the gold leaf shader on it. This shader can be acquired from Ada 1 when it rotates into her inventory of shaders that she's selling. And the star of the show is the Untethered Edge Cape, which can be currently found through the Breach executable episodic activity. The Super Black shader is from Into the Light, which expired after the release of Final Shape. If you have the shader, then congratulations, you can do this specific look. If not, there is possibly other options that you can use. However, I have not researched or looked into any alternatives at this time. Super Black is used on the cloak, legs, gauntlets, and helmet, and gold leaf is used specifically for the chest armor to create this gold center to have a gold black kind of look. Now then, for the build itself, talking specifically gameplay, um, I'm using the Arcstrider subclass. The goal in mind of creating, like, trying to stay on theme with samurai as much as I could. I am aware that this is by no means extremely accurate. This was just pulled off with the resources at my disposal and the little bit of research I did on samurais while trying to make a build that was fun to play and brought a new style of gameplay into the fold. So for the super, I'm using Storm's Edge, a very fun new super. However, I do believe this is only available to final shape holders. So if you do not hold final shape, you could use Gathering Storm. That's a great alternative. I'm using the Marksman's Dodge as it has the shortest cooldown between the two class abilities. Combination Blow because generally speaking it's just a nice melee. I'm aware that by using Marksman we are not going to be able to have that dodge melee combo, but you'll find that through flow state we don't really need to use combination blow that much to get back our dodge because this is focused entirely on ascension and its synergy with gifted conviction. Flow state, that's going to be your class ability regen. Defeating a jolted target gives you amplified, and amplified gives you way faster class ability cooldown. Flashbang because samurais are kind of fantasized to be quick and tactical. They're very good at using things to they give themselves an advantage in the battlefield. So a quick flashbang to blind your enemies. And then I'm using Spark of Shock, so in that way the flashbang jolts targets. Haste, so in that way sprinting gives you more mobility stat, which means that so while you're sprinting to your next target, your class ability is cooling down faster. Resistance, because the main weapon of focus for this build is melee range, so you're going to be constantly surrounded by enemies. And then taking advantage of rapid kills while amplified creates orbs, so in that way you can get more super and ability regen. Moving on to the armor mods, we are going to be taking advantage of Ashes to Assets, and that way your flashbang can appropriately give you more super energy. If you'd like, you could you could use A or remove this armor mod and change up the rest of this. I recommend Harmonic Siphon, as the sword that we'll be using is arc, so you can take advantage of a low cost siphon mod for orb generation. And then Powerful Friends, because I had the 2 energy remaining, and why not give your allies more armor charge. Right. Like I said, this is not some super hyper optimized thing. This is just for the fun of the game and the love of the samurai. Now on the gauntlets, I have both grenade and powered melee orb generation, as well as grenades giving you more class ability energy. On the chest armor, I just have your standard. You can do whatever kind of resistances are appropriate for the activity. I have a harmonic because it's cheap, a void because I was doing breach executable, which currently has a void burn, and then melee damage resistance because you're going to be constantly in close range of enemies. On the boots, I just have absolution, innervation, and recuperation. Recuperation for that orb health pickup, because arc doesn't have much of any health regenerating options. It just gives you a lot of damage resistance, so this will give you back your health. Innervation, absolution. I know that insulation is an option, but the reason why I don't use insulation is because insulate. So first off, the class ability cooldown is already going to be incredibly short with this setup. And insulation does not give back a lot of class ability energy, at least for a marksman's dodge, because these mods are a percentage, and with a low cooldown and a low percentage, you get almost nothing back. But when using this, because it's a higher cooldown on a percentage, math means you get more energy back. Long story short, I found this to be better than using insulation. On our class item, I'm using utility kickstart, so that way all those orbs that we're making will allow us to cast a class ability and instantly receive a portion of it back. Powerful attraction, so that way when you do use Ascension, you collect orbs nearby. And then Bomber to get more flashbangs back. Now on the weapons end, this is really where things start to kick up thematically for the samurai. So in my short time researching online, I found that especially in fantasized samurais, they most often used bows and, well, a katana. And so as much as I'm aware that this might not be a katana, it is the closest looking thing I could find. And also you'll find that in a activity, it tends to look and feel and play like maybe you would imagine a katana would. I'll go ahead and start loading into a breach executable so I can show off some of the gameplay. So I'm using this bow that I recently got. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. The main reason why is for the strategist volt shot. This bow comes from the new raid, Salvation's Edge. So that's going to be where you source this from. It comes with, I have strategist volt shot, strategist for that class ability regen, and when you have volt shot on this bow, it is hands down just like a legendary version of Trinity Ghoul. It slaps really hard. And then I'm using Gold Tusk with Relentless Strikes and Whirlwind Blade for that stacking damage and that ammo regeneration. For the kinetic weapon, I just have conditional finality on because frankly there wasn't much options for the kinetic slot that could really be on brand. And I find conditional finality to be a shotgun that I really like. It kind of fits with the fast, agile theme with its 95 handling, quick striking, high damage capability. So really with this setup, it's going to be quite simple gameplay. It's going to be all about just running around with your sword out and just hacking away. You can also use your bow if you want, this bow if you want to get more class ability regen back. And in terms of ability loop, there's not really a loop. It's just a matter of when you catch your class ability, you'll get amplified. The exotic will spit out all those bombs that do a lot of damage. And as you can see, with really no extra buffs, just through a cast and the perks we have equipped, it comes back incredibly quickly. And when sprinting, you get it back even faster. Throw out a flashbang here, try to blind some enemies, and then really just wail away. You want to make sure you try to use your class ability as much as you can, because through the class ability, you'll be getting lots of damage resistance from the exotic.
That is a lot of data. Stepping in.
Blinded the Wyvern, so it'll be an easy kill. Yeah. Get that whirlwind blade up so we can just chomp through enemies. Use that class ability, get some of that damage resistance, just keep hacking away. A lot of wave clear from Ascension, and I recommend using Ascension up close to your enemies because anything nearby when you proc it will get jolted, which is great for clearing out a room really quickly. Teammate reminding me of samples. Good idea. Uh-oh.
Sending you the details, Captain. Harvesting radiolaria incubators.
That's all this radiolaria. I want all that sweet loot.
And they're modified with Shadow Legion tech. Let's cut their wires.
Our breach executable hasn't been too bad. Definitely meets standard for the usual seasonal activity. I do have to admit that I think it would be good if maybe not all of these objectives for this activity were stand in a zone and capture it. Does seem to make up most of the gameplay here. You have her class ability back, got like two off in 10-15 seconds. So the Ascension part of the setup really does have a lot of potency to it.
That is a lot of data. Stepping in.
It's already time for the boss.
Captain. It has given itself a name, the Guardian Slayer. How bold!
Damn, this guy's really just exploding data. Come on, big boy. I don't want to deal with this. There we go.
Fire team member.
That's the samurai build. Nothing's that's supposed to, bedazzle anyone, but I find it really fun to play, and it's a great way to break away from some of the more meta loadouts for Prismatic we've been seeing recently. Conditional Finality is the raid exotic for Root of Nightmares, and Gold Tusk is a old sword whose pattern you could acquire through, yeah, it was Season of Defiance during the Lightfall year. I do not know how you can get this currently. It's as the original source has been removed. I imagine it might be acquirable through Xur after his current rework, but so there you go. Hope you enjoyed the build, and I look forward to hearing any feedback.